All right, what's going on, Peter? We got Peter here from Conversational Spanish. Peter's one of our clients over at Conversionally. Welcome, Peter.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, Peter. So, first place, let's start with tell us a little bit about conversational Spanish and what exactly you guys help your clients with.
We help our students learn conversational Spanish, which we would say is like B2 and above in the world of language. But it basically means to be able to immerse in the culture, to be able to make friends, connect with people, have relationships, and those types of things. So we distinguish it from what I call survival Spanish, being able to order food at a restaurant, get what you need versus immersion conversation.
So, how's that different from like a Rosetta Stone or like a course that you would get online?
Those would be tailored towards survival Spanish. So the easiest way I like to explain it is survival Spanish versus conversational is memorization versus improvisation, speaking versus listening, and vocabulary versus all skills. Essentially, it's easy to memorize what you want to say to people. Okay. If I want to say, yo quiero tacos, I want tacos, that's pretty easy. The problem is when they reply back to you, you can't memorize what they're going to say back to you. They could say anything and they're going to say it fluently, right? So, how do you prepare for anything? Another way to think of it is music. It'd be easy to learn a couple songs on the guitar or the piano, right? You can memorize a couple, but playing improv jazz is a whole different world. Conversational Spanish is improv jazz. And the only way to be able to improvise and be prepared for anything in conversation is to have enough tools in your toolbox, right? And so we give them those tools, all the vocabulary, the grammar, the structure, the listening skills, the pronunciation skills. There's a lot of tools you need to be able to improvise in the real world, right? You can't just read it on paper. You got to hear it. You got to say it, right? So there's a lot of factors that Rosetta Stone doesn't give people. And a lot of frankly, schools and universities and high schools and colleges don't give people, and tutors don't give. I mean, if you look at the US, half of the students take Spanish in high school for 4 years, and no one comes out learning Spanish or speaking it, right? So definitely not on a conversational level. So there's a lot of gaps in the world of learning Spanish that are not being met, and that's what we focus on and specialize in, and we only take students who want to get to that level. So we don't even take students who are just trying to survive. We only take students who want that higher level.
Yeah, I could see people who are just going through the normal courses or going through the normal, like maybe university or college or high school Spanish, Rosetta Stone, and maybe they're just leaving a lot on the table just because they are doing that memorization. So what do
It's
you
just
find?
pure
So
memorization. Yeah,
yeah, so I mean that's good if you want to pass a test, if you
exactly.
want to get an A in a class.
Exactly.
So how is that? I mean, I'm sure you probably have people who come from like, hey, dude, I took 4 years. I don't know if you could do 4 years in high school, but like I took 4 years in high school in Spanish. Do
Yeah.
you find people that you work with in those situations?
Quite often, most of our students are actually, no, I would say half and half. Half of our students have never taken a class before, maybe done some Duolingo or some apps or something. And half of our students have done 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years of things, and they never got results, right? So I was a case study. I did 4 years of Spanish and I was a straight A student, but I was not conversational out of high school. Then I ended up getting a job with some Spanish speakers, kind of made friends. I was like more interested. And I took a trip with one of them to their cousin's wedding in Mexico in Guanajuato. And I was like, man, I love this. The people were nice. The food was good. It was a lot of fun. And we spent 3 months driving around Mexico. And I said, I want to learn Spanish. Like, I need to learn. There's a lot of fun to be had out there. And so I went on my own journey of trying to figure it out with, no guidance, random tutors, random books, walked around with a dictionary in my pocket, traveled Latin America, lived in Miami and Calle Ocho, which is like Little Havana in Miami for a
You
couple of
immersed
years.
yourself.
I immersed myself and I tried a lot of things and it eventually I got it, but I was young, I was motivated, I had time, I didn't have like a career yet, so I had some advantages and I was pretty fresh out of high school, so I had that going. So, but
Mm.
it took me another 4 years of doing that before I put it together. So that's really 8 years if you put my story together to get conversational, right? Where, and most people don't get that far. I would put it in the 1 percentile of expats when I walk around Mexico or Latin America. I'd say 1 to 5% are really conversational. And so why is that? It's for all the things that we address in our program. It's all the little steps that people aren't getting, or they're not getting enough of, or they're not getting in the right way with other programs.
What's that
So
average transformation look like? I know you said 8 years. And so
for,
if you
for
had
us, it,
something,
yeah,
yeah, well, that's what I'm getting
for,
at. If you had
for
something
us,
like
it's not
what
8 years.
you guys have put together, like what does that difference look like?
Usually 6 to 12 months, their
Oh wow.
conversation. Yeah.
Nice.
And if they're already starting intermediate level, then it could be less, right? So that's typical where we see our results 6 to 12 months. And we have a guarantee if they don't reach their goal in the time that we assess them. So depending on the student, we assess them, we say, okay, here's what you need, here's your plan, here's how long we expect it to take.
When they start, when they're coming to you,
When they
and you're like,
come,
hey,
when they
here's
begin,
okay, gotcha.
yeah. And if they don't reach their goal by the end of our program, they get up to a second year free.
Hmm.
So we guarantee that. So basically, we're not worried about hours. They have unlimited classes, 6 hours a day. We have classes for every level going constantly. We have videos, we have flashcards, we have a text chain where you can ask the coaches questions. So we like to call it the no excuses program because there's always something to do. If you have energy and you're motivated, there's something for you to do, a class to be in, or a video to watch, or a flashcards to study. Or if you don't know, you text us, a coach will tell you what to do, if you're not sure. So there's always something to do. And that's important to getting results, not just teaching grammar, but having accountability. Um, Even in high school or college, you're still kind of on your own. If you do the work, you pass. If you don't, you fail, but they're not going to babysit you. But in reality, we're busy, in the coaching industry, which we're in, having that accountability is a huge part of what makes coaches successful, right? Being accountable, mindset, motivation, it's a long process and it's easy to get distracted, right? So we make sure we check in with them. We have contact with them every week, every day, anytime they need.
I think you said one thing that probably helped you with your success. It was like you went to Mexico, you're like, dude, I want to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And you just and then you immerse yourself. I think a lot of people have to have that aha moment and make the decision themselves to
Yeah.
really make that transformation. So when people come to you, what is that aha moment or what are they coming to you with? Like what is the reason that they want to get better Spanish skills or to start learning Spanish?
Yeah, we have a lot of different motivations for students, but the main ones would be they've either retired or a digital nomad, they've moved to Latin America. That would be number one. So they want friends, they want to immerse, they want dating, relationships, things like that, be able to travel more comfortably, experience the culture. So that's kind of like number one, right? Living in a new country or spending a lot of time there. Another is family. I get a lot of students who have Spanish speaking parents or spouses, and they never learned. A lot of people come to the US and teach their kids English, but don't teach them their native language, right? Because they want them to learn English, right? So they grew up never learning Spanish. So we got a lot of students who have Spanish speaking parents or family, right? And spouses. And spouses, that one in particular, like I can relate to because I had a girlfriend I had a couple of girlfriends, one before I knew Spanish and another after I knew Spanish. So the one when I didn't know Spanish and she was bilingual, she could speak English and Spanish, my Spanish didn't improve with her at all. And on the other hand, when I was bilingual and my girlfriend was not, and she knew Spanish only, she didn't improve her English at all. Whoever's the more bilingual person will always adapt to the not bilingual person meaning the person who's bilingual will get more bilingual, the person who's not will not, right? And so spouses, they don't want to be your teacher. They just want to relax and enjoy. So we get a lot of people who have been married for 5 or 10 years and never learned the language of their spouse, which means in-laws and family gatherings and stuff. So that's a big one. And the last one would be work. We get a lot of nurses, doctors, we get construction, we get education, we get a lot of teachers, that kind of thing. People who, for one reason or another, in their church, in their community, are involved with Spanish speakers. So, especially in the US right now, we have so many Spanish speakers, right? So, those are the three main motivations that I would say: travel, immersion, friends, family, and work. Volunteer as well.
Yeah, so earlier you talked about there were unlimited classes. You said that there's a guarantee, and this all sounds great. So, like, walk me through your packages specifically for, helping people speak Spanish.
Yeah, so we basically have two programs. We have our conversational program and our fluency program. And so after we do our assessment, we'll decide which program is right for you based on your level and your goals.
And that's the
And
assessment when someone's coming to you and they're like, "Hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm looking to do," and you kind of go through the.
that's right. We
Okay.
whether it's through ads or a website or a friend, however they're referred to us, however they find us, they book an assessment call. And on that 20-30 minute assessment call, we'll know everything we need to know about their Spanish level. And we'll know everything that they need to get to their goals. What is their goal? Is their goal to be conversational? Is it fluency? Okay, what is their goal? And then based on their level and goal, we create a price, we create a program, we create steps. We say, this is what you need to do, right? But essentially, there's two main programs because there's two major goals. I want to be conversational is the most popular one, and I want to be fluent. Some people want to go that extra mile, right? So based on where you're at, we'll say, okay, you're an intermediate student. Here's what you need to be conversational, and we set that up. Here's what you're going to do every day. Here's how long it'll take. Here's, and there's a whole system around that. If you're a total beginner, here's what you're going to do.
What if the only word that you know is "hola" and "adios"
Yeah,
and that's it?
yeah.
You
Then
got something for people like that?
we have a lot of students who have never learned Spanish, never taken a class. We have one of our first students, Myra. She had never taken a class. She failed high school Spanish, I think 1 year, and then dropped out or something, and then never took it since. And she was in her mid-60s, so that's 45 years later,
That
right?
might be me, dude. Like
Okay,
I need
perfect,
to.
perfect. Okay, so Myra had never taken a class really in her life, and she, in 8 months, was able to do her residency interview in Mexico in Spanish.
Whoa, eight? You said 8 months?
8 months later, she
And
did
how
her,
old? You said how old?
she was 65.
Whoa, nice.
And we have 75-year-olds who are now traveling around Latin America with Mexican friends, their neighbors and stuff, who they met and know English for 1 or 2 weeks at a time. They're taking these trips, so if they can do it, you can do it. We also have younger people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, right? So we have all kind of people who have tried all kind of things, but zero, absolutely, what you do is you start with the simple steps. We teach you how to listen, just how to hear. You don't even have to understand anything. You just have to hear it, right? If they say hola, you say hola, right? Just training your ear to hear Spanish, right? Then teaching you how to pronounce it, say it the proper way, read it with proper pronunciation. That's something very few people really actually learn. And then from there we go on and teach you the words and the grammar and get you into the conversation classes. And we have classes for everything, every step of the way, and get you a good routine. The key for everybody that we start with, no matter what level you're at, is build your routine. So in the first month, let's say, that's our focus. It's not a bunch of grammar. It's a routine. Here's what you're doing for 5 minutes a day. You're doing some listening. For 10 minutes a day, you're doing this, you're doing that. I like to equate it to health. If you want to get healthy, what do? You brush your teeth, you take a shower, you eat breakfast, then you go to the gym, then you eat your protein and your vegetables and go to sleep. That's your health routine.
Every day.
every day.
Every day.
You don't just do one thing. If you only go to the gym but you don't sleep or drink water, you're not going to be healthy, right? Same with Spanish. You need a little bit of listening, a little bit of reading, a little bit of conversation and different things every day into a 30 to 60-minute routine, right? That routine is every day. Now, if you have 2 or 3 hours, great, but at least 30 to 60 minutes. Here's what you do, right? And if you do those things, you'll get it. But if you don't do all those things, it's like trying to get healthy and not doing all those things every day, right? If you only do listening every day, like a lot of people love music and they just, oh, I listen to the radio. That's not going to get you there. You also need grammar and other things, right? But if you're only doing grammar, that won't get you there either. You need listening, right? So there are elements to the routine to make this a part of your life that you're going to do every day.
Yeah, it's almost like if, I mean, just think of what you're doing in your language that you speak right now, right? You're
Yeah.
listening to it, you're writing it, you're reading it, you're like all the things. So
Yeah.
it's almost like you're duplicating what you already know how to do just for another language.
Yeah.
So if you just,
And,
yeah,
and I get a lot of people who like to say, one of my funniest things, there's a video on YouTube. If you Google YouTube, learn Spanish in your sleep, and it has millions of hits, right? And people put on these Spanish videos and literally think they're going to sleep and learn Spanish.
sleep and learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Man,
Right. And
that's
millions of
nuts.
hits, millions of hits. I get a lot of people who say, how do children learn? I'm just going to learn by immersion. I'm just going to go and move to Mexico and magically it's going to appear, right? Because that's how children learn language, right? Okay. Well, children learn language. First of all, it takes a child about 3 years to really speak a language, right? Then those 3 years, are their parents talking to them first of all, they're with their mother literally 24/7. So are you being immersed with your mother 24/7 in those 3 years? Okay, that's number one. Probably not. Number two, um, your mom isn't speaking to you like an adult. She's speaking to you like a child for the first year or two, right? So mama, dad kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So do you have somebody for 2 years speaking to you like a baby, right? 24/7? No, you don't. Right. So all these people who think immersion is the answer because it's the way babies do it. Well, that's not actually how babies do it. And you're not
It's
doing
a
what
slow
babies do.
progression.
Yeah, they have a slow
Yeah.
progression and they're immersed 24/7, right? And their mind is more open than yours is. They're babies,
It's
right?
literally being developed
It's being
for
developed.
this thing.
Yeah. So you can't learn like a baby. There
Yeah.
are some things you can do that mimic babies, but you gotta take advantage of your talents as an adult, which is discernment. You have analysis, you have language structure in your mind that you've used for a lifetime. So there is advantages to adults that we need to take advantage of. And some things we can do, like listening every day and immersing, is a good 5-minute practice. You got to do it the right way, but it is a good practice. So there are things we can learn from babies, but there's also things we have to do as adults that are different. So this whole notion of immersion to learn is a fallacy. Maybe 1 in 10,000 can learn that way. Maybe, certain really naturally gifted people with language, you
Yeah.
know.
So Peter, so conversational Spanish sounds like a great company. How did that start?
Yeah. So technically it started in 2019, right before the pandemic. And then the pandemic came and that was actually beneficial because I had time to focus. People were coming online. So it was actually a coincidence.
A lot
Um,
of businesses were created during the pandemic. So yeah.
yeah, it was very, very helpful in a sense for us. Um, but I had been teaching Spanish before that. Um, I learned Spanish over the last 25 years, really got conversational around 2008, and then traveled Latin America and did all kind of things for the last 15 years. Somewhere along that line, I started teaching informally, roommates and friends, right? I'd live in Medellin in Colombia, and my roommates said, I want to learn Spanish. So I'd teach a little bit informally, right? That grew and grew and grew until I got hired in Puerto Rico to teach for a year in a college gap year program. So students would come for a semester or two to Puerto Rico to immerse in the culture, and I would help them with Spanish. I developed a curriculum, and that's where I really refined my approach, right? And and then somewhere during that process, I said, you know, I found out about this program. Shout out to Max Tornow and Freedom Business Mentoring that helps people with a certain skill turn their skill into an online business, coaching
Nice.
business, consulting, service providing. And I said, that's what I want. I want to have that freedom life. I want to be able to travel, work online. I want to be able to do that. I never thought I could do that with Spanish. But talking to him, he laid out a game plan, looks good. So we did it. And
And this was so just so I'm following the timeline. This was all before
2020,
COVID.
2019, 2020.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I was working in Puerto Rico 2018, 2019. Then right at the end, I shifted over and turned it into this online business.
Nice.
And so then what I did is I started putting my curriculum online, making my slides, my videos, my course. Started getting my first couple clients, hired my first couple of teachers, and just organically grew, right? And that my method of teaching kept getting refined because getting it, as you know, similar to Conversionly in the businesses you help, scaling a business is different than teaching something, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh for sure.
being a one-on-one tutor is one thing. Scaling a business and teaching a lot of people is a different thing. So I had to adapt my methods of teaching to a business model that could also grow. So that was a little bit of a process.
It's tricky because, and just really quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but it's tricky because you go from like having a job, maybe being employed, to
Yeah.
self-employed, to kind
Yeah.
of doing the same job just for yourself,
Yeah.
to then like being a business owner. That
Yeah.
shift right there, I think, is what you're like what you're describing, and that
Yeah.
is just a big shift.
Yeah. It was a huge shift. I could talk all day about that, and
Yeah.
it was not easy, but you know, I knew the method works because I had taught enough people to know, like, okay, I have something here, right? So it just took some trial and error with along with my team to figure out how should classes look, what times should they be available, making enough, you know, availability, getting things really nice and neat and organized in videos, in the PowerPoints, things like that. So that just was a process, you know,
Mhm.
and in 2 years we had gotten, you know, probably 60 or 70 students, you know, and maybe now we have, in the last year and a half, we now have 300,
That's
right?
awesome. So
So
that was all organic, word of mouth, right?
it was organic through social media,
Okay.
through
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Well, it
hundred,
was online, so like organic social
yeah,
media.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
was
Okay.
all pretty much 100% through Facebook groups.
Which is popular. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty much. I tried Instagram and I literally didn't get one client through Instagram.
Mm,
And that it had nothing to do with, you know, strat is me. I just wasn't good at the reels and this, that wasn't
yeah.
my forte,
Was it
right?
your own group or other people's groups?
So I would go into other people's groups and I would start, you know, offering little tips. I'd start mentioning, do you want a
Just
free
value.
class? You know,
Yeah.
value. And I started hosting free workshops like, hey, every Thursday we're doing a free workshop. And that's it, you know, and I'd get 5 or 10 people a week coming, you know, to talk to me. And then maybe of those, I might get 2, 3, 4 calls a week and maybe get 1 or 2 clients a week. That was what I was averaging. So probably somewhere between 6 to 10 clients per month.
And listen, that's not bad for you're just organically growing and not
Yeah.
really putting in a lot of investment. I mean, the investment that you did
No,
put in was time.
yeah.
Obviously, I mean, investment's
So
either time or money,
I wasn't spending money. I wasn't
right?
spending money.
Yeah, so either time or money, you were spending more time. And then I'm assuming because you came to start to work with us probably November, December 2023, there
Yeah.
was a period where you're like, okay, I'm getting 2 clients a week. I'm gonna kind of bump that up a little bit. So walk me through that process.
I saw conversions leads ad. I had been working with Freedom Business Mentoring for a while, and they're awesome. They helped me get to where I was, and they're they aren't a do it for you service. They're like they consult you, they coach you, they tell you how to do it, but you've got to do it.
So it's like a course, videos. Hey, this is how you do it. Go
Calls.
figure it out. And then maybe you have like coaching calls.
Yeah, we have coaching
Okay.
calls, texting groups. I can ask some questions anytime, but I have to do the work.
Right.
And I'm not, first of all, as you know, being a new business owner, you're already busy just trying to do everything, right?
Yeah.
You're fixing the program, you're doing free workshops, you're trying to get sales calls, you're trying to DM people and
Payroll, admin,
payroll. Yeah.
taxes. Yeah.
So already I'm busy and I'm not technically super knowledgeable. When started with in 2019, I still had a flip phone. Like
Oh,
I literally didn't
dude,
care about.
sometimes I wish I still had a flip phone.
I still wish I did. I still have it. It's just not hooked up.
Yeah.
But you know, anyway, I'm not the most tech savvy, so some of the things I was needing to do I couldn't do. Or I didn't have the time to figure out how to do. And I see Conversion Leads ad about this do it for you service. We're going to help you build ads and get more automated leads and sales calls because that was my bottleneck. I was just running out of steam with these free workshops and I wasn't good at Instagram. So where were my leads coming from? They were just starting to dwindle,
Hmm.
right? Is like I was a one trick pony kind of thing, and it was just not getting the results, and I'm growing, I'm getting more students. So now I need more teachers, I need to hire, I need to grow, and I can't handle all that. So I really need this automated sales funnel.
Because
Right.
and then at that position, you get to where like I need to hire more people because I am growing. But then like what if the next month, 2 months, 3 months, I don't have the consistent flow? Now I have all of this
Payroll.
payroll for the operations and I got to figure out a way to continue to get people in to support that.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. So fortunately, I saw your guys' ad, clicked it. We can talk all about it, the things you guys have done, but bottom line is been awesome. Um, and it has been the perfect timing because now I have the free time to, I don't have to worry about my clients anymore. The first year or two, I really had to be hands on with them because we were still trying to get the system right, the business right. We got that. Now we can handle more people. How do I get more people? Cool. So now it's a good time I can handle more traffic, right?
Right.
And so, like, if I had started with you guys early before I had my program already, I'd be overwhelmed with too many people,
Yeah.
right? So it's a balance of having the capacity to grow at the right speed. And so it worked out perfectly. And basically, yeah, in the last, I don't know, when did we start? I think September, and now we're in February, but the ads kicked in November, right?
Yeah, so just for context for anybody watching, we're kind of a mix between done with you, which is what you were describing, like courses, figure it out, get on calls. I mean, the get on calls part, that's how it's done with you, right?
Yes.
Most of it's kind of done for you, but they give you access to stuff that you wouldn't have known before and like how to. So like
Right.
it is done with you. So we're a mix between done for you and done with you, right? Because like what we do is we build out all the assets that you need for a client acquisition system and then kind of hand it over to you so that you to help you run it, right? Because I mean, we can't make the sales calls for you. We can't help like the leads are routing and getting to your phone number, not to our phone number, right?
Yeah.
So it's there's kind of a little bit of work to do at the beginning. So like when we are customizing everything because you don't want cookie cutter stuff. because
Yeah.
you're going to get cookie cutter results. You want
Yeah.
customized things specifically for your business. So it's a little bit of a ramp up time. That's, what you were talking about, September, probably a month, month and a half, 2 months. It takes to kind of build everything out and customize it. And
Yeah,
then,
I
boom,
can't even
sell.
remember the exact months, so I might have the months off. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
1 to 2 months to kind of customize it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then, so before we start talking about the results, did you try anything before? Like, did you hire any companies? I don't know. It's like some people do like Fiverr, Upwork, or they try to do it themselves. Anything like that before you saw Conversion Leads ad?
Um, just very almost the same time I hired a marketing team who are still with me, and it complements really well. And they're kind of managing my Facebook group, my email list, Instagram, YouTube. They're kind of handling that,
All the
um,
organic stuff, not the ad stuff.
all the organic stuff,
Got it. Got it. Got
right?
it. Got it.
And so they were starting on that just a couple months before, and that has been a great complement to this, but it's slower results, right?
Mhm.
It's organic, so they've had to build up their thing, right? And yeah, so it actually works well because I don't know, it's coming from all sides now, that's all. But bottom line is we tried a little bit, but in comparison to the conversion lead results, like way more predictable, way faster.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, just way more scalable. The world of ads and what conversion lead you guys have built um, is like essential. Now we have the time, we kind of got this consistent flow of sales calls and clients. Now we can have a little more breathing room to be more creative with the organic stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's dive into the results real quick. Your account manager sent a screenshot over to me, going over December and January results. Um, your cost per lead is amazing. I think
Mm,
in December, $35.07 average cost per lead. I mean, that's great because our KPI is so like anywhere between 150 to $300 per appointment.
yeah.
So I think your offer, your business, the fact that you're targeting expats, like that's, I mean, you got it really dialed in. And I've
Mm,
seen your copy and your creative and all of that is amazing. And then also in January it was $40. I mean, just a little bump, but still you're sitting amazingly for the cost per appointment, $40.12.
yeah.
And I think December, you spent, let's see, just over 2,400 in ad spend, and then your sales were 24,000. So that's a 10-to-1
Okay.
return. And then January, 1,700 in ad spend, and then 19,000 in sales. I mean, that's just the numbers that we have. You may have like more sales that kind of trickled in, but that's an 11-to-1 return.
Yeah.
Um, I know we were kind of going over a spreadsheet. I don't want you to pull that up or anything, but talk to me about your close rates and all that stuff.
Yeah, my close rates right now are about 50%.
That's good.
Yeah, 40, 50%. And
I know we got some work to do on the show rates though,
the
right?
show rates, yeah, we're working closely, and I'll give a compliment to your team. Um, like you said, the copy that writing that we did, um, I'm very hands-on. I recommend anyone who joins Conversionly be hands-on, put in your input
100%.
because you know there are little nuances that I know about my business and my target audience that can make a difference, and so I was very hands-on, and you guys responded and you made the changes, and they gave good results, so we had to go back and forth a bunch of times on some of the copy,
Which is
but
expected, right?
yeah,
I mean, you're the business owner, you know your business. We're just coming in and maybe in the first like 60 days trying to put all
no,
this stuff together.
it's
I
expected.
mean, we haven't been in your business for 10 years. So,
No, is
yeah,
that's all I'm saying is there you guys are there, utilize them, right? And it's the same in any business with my students. Take advantage of us, ask us questions. Same with you guys. If you join Conversionly and be proactive, you'll get a lot more out of it. because it'll be exactly tailored the way you want it. And you know your target audience, you know your clients, your customers. So that was good. That helped. And then since then, I know I'm working with Laz, one of your team members now, and now we're optimizing it.
Mhm.
I forget your question. What was your question again?
I mean, close rates. So we were talking about close rates. I said we had some work to do on
Show
show up
rate.
rates, show rates.
Show
Yeah.
rate. Show rate. So yeah, so I'm working with Laz and your guy behind the scenes now to optimize, right? So we got these great results. Now we got to figure out how to get even better results, and that means, for example, if we're running ads in certain countries, they do better than others, and we're running, right? So just
Mhm.
little things to follow-ups and texts and emails. Our call setter, who you guys helped me hire, she's awesome. Liz. So everything's working really well. And the exciting part is there's so much room for optimizing it and doing even better. Right.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
you're
where
in
it's at.
the I mean, you're kind of like still in the launch phase now, right? I mean, it's still
Basically.
dude, like for us, it took us almost a year to like really dial things in. Don't get me wrong, like we were still profitable when we
Yeah.
first started running ads, and like some companies are profitable. I mean, some companies aren't though when they start running
Right.
ads because you just have to figure out how to dial it in. But as long as you have the vision to know that this is what you want a predictable client acquisition system
Yeah.
that brings in those sales. Like to your point, like you were hiring operations people, and then what if
Yeah.
you didn't have those sales coming in? You don't want to be in that situation. So
Yeah.
it's a long game.
Yeah.
Now, to your point, you'll get a lot quicker results than anything like organic or SEO
Way
or
quicker.
outbound outreach or, anything like that. It's the best of all the 6 ways that you can get new clients. It's the best way, if done correctly, to eliminate the time factor that you have to spend
Yeah.
and then also get as much ROI as you possibly can once everything's dialed in. I mean, dude, you're sitting at 10 to 1, 11 to 1, and you still kind of dialing stuff in. So
And still,
that's
no,
encouraging.
I don't know these numbers, but according to Laz and you guys, is like this is really good. So I'm
It is
I'm
good. I mean, you want to like our goal is to have our clients around 3 to 1 to 5 to 1.
that's
So
great.
you're crushing it. You're crushing it. Yeah. At this
Yeah.
point now, you just gotta try to, you're spending, around $2,000 to $3,000 a month. You want to try to bump that up and
Yeah.
maintain that ROI. And
Yeah.
that's the game.
Yeah, and we're going to be raising our prices soon, so that should bump
Oh,
things up. We get the show rate higher, that'll bump things up, you
oh yeah.
know.
What did
So
you say your show rate was? Like 38%?
yeah,
30, yeah,
30 something.
38%. You wanted to be 70, 75.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's
So we could double
if
it.
your close rate stays the same, you could double your revenue just by fixing the
Exactly.
show rate.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Yeah, we'll
That's
help you out with that. We'll help you out with that.
that's it. That's the big question. So I got 5 minutes FYI
All right,
till
Peter. Real quick, wrapping up for everybody. What I want to do something a little different since you speak conversational Spanish.
sí,
Um,
vamos.
yeah, give me just a couple sentences of what you would say to someone who's kind of thinking maybe I should sign up with Conversionly, but do it in Spanish.
Sí, si ustedes están pensando en unirse con Conversionly, lo recomiendo porque ellos les apoyan, les ayudan con todo, desde el primer día hasta el último paso para lograr tus metas, lo que sea. Son increíbles, son amables, tienen un equipo excelente, disponible 24/7 y todo. Y ya, van a lograr, sin duda.
I don't know what you said. You could have cussed me out, but it sounded good.
Yes, good.
All right. Thanks, Peter. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.